I suddenly saw an opportunity to make a movie that was really exciting visually, that was genuinely character-driven, that was smart, that had heart, and was also a great ride.
I was watching a Discovery Channel special on volcanoes, and I thought, how great would it be if you could design a ship that would go down through the magma like a submarine would go through the water and get into the bowels of the earth.
We used to joke about it, that we used to go to heaven, all the astronaut pictures, space pictures. So we used to say, yeah, we used to go to heaven, now we're going to hell.
My pitch was, I want to write one of those great 1960s sci-fi movies where smart people figure out what's wrong and then smart people try to fix it.
What we've tried to incorporate in the movie is everything that's currently known about the center of the planet, which is one of the great mysterious frontiers of our lives.
It's almost totally unknown. It's, you know, there's a line in the script where the general says, well, we go to outer space, and Josh, this is actually an argument from a text. Josh says, outer space is easy, it's empty.
There was all these great theories about what might be down there. Anti-mountain ranges, which would be analogous to the mountain ranges we have, only everything's upside down, and these giant magma bombs that were huge electrical charged balls of energy that were flying around down there. And no one really knew exactly what would be down there or what things would look like, but that was part of the challenge, which is to describe what, in theory, would be down there.
The wonderful thing about making an inner space movie instead of an outer space movie is that nobody's done it before. The deepest anybody has in fact gone into the surface of our planet is actually 7 miles with a 2-inch drill bit.
The layers of the Earth and what they might look like and the composition that's in the movie is literally as good as we know. Everything is extrapolated from real physics. The core of the Earth drives the electromagnetic field of the Earth. When that goes wrong, what are the symptoms? Electromagnetic burst. So the symptoms become the pacemaker idea, the bird swarm in Trafalgar Square. And you just, as a writer, sort of work inwards and find the weirdest, creepiest thing that you can find that's a representation of that.
The thing I loved about the script is that the science was completely understandable. I felt that it could be told in a way that people wouldn't get lost. And the other thing I liked about it was that it wasn't like a bunch of stock characters.
John Emile had made it really clear to me and to the other actors that at all times, at all costs, the characters would be a major part of what the audience connected with.
For the 22nd time in a row, everyone on Earth is dead.
Because John is Royal Shakespeare Academy trained, he actually directed there, his focus was the characters. So he was really good about, I had a big section about, self-propagating virus bots on the web. And he's, John, we really should focus about whether these relationships work or not. No, this is all great. Over here, John, characters, dialogue, and sort of drag me back.
He's known as an actor's director and a storyteller. And if I hear him say one more time, and even in the visual effects, we have to tell the story. Every little thing is, what's the story we're telling in this scene, in this shot?
A lot of times we get sidetracked in films of this type and the types of films that I get involved with, big event films and things like that overlook a little of those things. The first day I went and saw dailies, and I realized I was making visual effects on a movie that had great acting in it and great direction.
I was 2 inches from him! I was 2 inches and I told you to put the door up and you didn't! I was screaming for you! Why didn't you do it?
Because I had to make that decision. Fate or God?
No! Damn it, you leave God out of this!
Serge died so that we could complete our job.
Oh, that's right, the job is saving the world.
Not the whole world, Josh! Just 3 of them.
I felt like I wanted to reclaim the visual effects movie for story and for people.
It's not only the story, it's the fact that you like these people. You like them, you enjoy them, and then when things go wrong with them, you feel for them.
There was a formula science fiction picture with Hollywood types, which, weren't very good because they follow the same ritualistic pattern.
Basically, I feel the visual effects movies have been hijacked by visual effects, and people in them tend to be tiny chess pieces in the checkerboard landscape of the movie.
My only hesitation was that we didn't want to rehash the genre, that we were going to give it something new and a little bit of a different perspective.
When I started to think about casting it, I went to the very best actors I could think of.
Aaron Eckhart doing a sci-fi movie? Hilary Swank? Delroy Lindo? Stanley Tucci? Alfre Woodard? I mean, who are these people in a sci-fi movie?
I think a lot of that is to John Amiel's credit. You know, those people wanted to work with him because of who he is and what he had done before, and those people made the movie better than it otherwise would have been.
So this shot
Can you use a lot of that?
I went to them saying, I want to make a truly character-driven visual effects movie. I want you, the actors, to drive this film, and I want to make it in the same way that we would if we were making essentially an indie movie. I want to rehearse, I want to improv, I want to do backgrounds on the characters. I want to try and create a sense of very real people living very real lives in a very difficult and surreal situation.
We've got no communications. We're probably 800 feet down, but we might as well be 800 miles. We're in an unobtainium cigar tube with the sonar signature of a rock. We've got just enough power to make the ultrasonics burp, but no one's listening on those frequencies anyway. And nobody even knows we're alive.
Okay. Give me a minute on this one.
The thing about doing a movie that's special effects where you don't get to react to anything, it was more challenging than I thought it was going to be. So much of acting is reacting, and so when you're sitting there and you're not reacting off of anything except an idea of what it would look like, that was a bit challenging.
I have to tell you this really funny story. The other day, Alfre and I saw a city that was being destroyed by this cloud of superheated steam, and it occurred to me, like, while we were doing it, she was behind me. I was like, we need to coordinate our reactions to this because one of us could be doing this and one of us could be like this. And that would look so ridiculous. And I've never had to act, to something that wasn't, to some abstract thing like that.
The scene where my captain dies. Usually when a scene like that happens, you have the person in front of you or someone's telling you that someone's died. I'm sitting there in this cockpit with no panels because the camera's there, and I have to pretend that I'm looking at his heartbeat. And all of a sudden it stops, and I have to react off of nothing there. I have to pretend that I see his heartbeat. I have to pretend that it flatlines. I have to pretend everything.
The process of making a shot from storyboard to visual effect, it's very laborious. It's like making a painting with hundreds and hundreds of different layers. The entire world had to be created essentially in the computer. And so that put me in a place of tremendous dependence on visual effects. And I don't like being dependent on anybody when I make a movie, other than my own judgment.
We're traveling to the center of the Earth. No one's ever seen that. We don't know what it looks like. How can you envision that?
It's like a crystal Grand Canyon.
The phenomena that are encountered on the way down, at one point in time I could see them as if I was watching the movie, and I felt like I kind of had to do that in order to write. If you see it in your head and you can imagine that you're in the ship and you can imagine that you're going down through that.
As I read the script, that's it. I have the picture in my mind straight away. There might be an argument as to how the director saw it and what I say I saw. So we'll come to some arrangement on that.
We were cutting in storyboards, which can sort of throw you when you're working on. You suddenly cut to a pencil drawing of something dramatic that's happening.
This process is very dependent upon the imagination of all of the people involved, and as with imagination, it's very individual. We turn something over to the editorial department, and these guys, they're used to making cutting decisions that are very specific, and somebody said, if we can't see it, we can't cut it.
We build each scene, digit by digit, little bit by bit, for months, and often don't know how it's going to look until all of a sudden we put it together, we put it on the screen, we go, oh, or we go, that's it.
With a guy like Greg McMurray, it's a steady process. You make progress all the time.
Give or take.
Sometimes I would shoot shots that were completely live action, that were being dovetailed with his shots that were completely computer generated, and sometimes my shots were partially live action and he was adding computer generated segments to those shots, backgrounds or foregrounds sometimes, or who knows what.
The strength of the film, I believe, is the fact that John, with the visual effects, has made this rather special because of the fantastic performances brought to the film. Showings that we've had, the people all say that it's the first science fiction film in such a long time they see where they believe all the performances, they believe the cast.
Everyone's seen a space movie, everyone's seen an underwater movie, nobody's done this yet.
Certainly no better feeling known to a film director than the moment you dream an image with as much intensity as you can possibly muster. And then finally you open your eyes and you see that image on a screen 40 foot by 30 foot. That is about the best feeling there is in the world.